Before he became legend, he was nothing. No strength in his legs, no throne to claim, only whispers of a destiny no one believed. This is the untold beginning of Sundiata Keita, the lion who crawled before he could conquer. In the heart of Mandin, where the Niger River curved like a mother's embrace, the land was rich with millet and gold dust. King Nare Magan Konate ruled with wisdom, his people thriving under a sun that seemed to smile upon them. Yet a shadow loomed from the north, a sorcerer-king named Soumaoro, whose iron blades and dark magic swallowed kingdoms whole. The griots, keepers of history, sang of a prophecy. A lion child would rise, uniting the Mandinka and forging an empire to outshine the stars. But the king's heart was heavy. His eldest son, Dankaran Tuman, cared more for fine robes than for leadership. The prophecy spoke of another, a child born of destiny. But who could it be? The answer came on a dusty day when two hunters arrived in Niani, the capital, with a woman named Sogolon Keju. She was no ordinary woman. Her eyes held the fire of the buffalo, her presence the weight of ancient promises. The griots whispered, their voices trembling with awe. She will bear the lion child. Sogolon was not beautiful in the way of courtly women, but her strength was undeniable. The king married her, and the people waited, their hopes pinned on the child she would bear. Yet, when the boy was born, named Marijata, later called Sundiata, the hungering lion, disappointment swept through the palace. He was weak, his legs useless, crawling where others ran. The king's first wife, Sasuma, sneered, her son, Dankaran, poised to inherit the throne. "What lion is this?" she mocked, her words sharp as thorns. Sogolon bore the insults in silence, but her heart ached. She looked at her son, his small body struggling, and wondered if the griots had been mistaken. Sundiata, too, felt the weight of doubt. "Why am I different, mother?" he asked, his voice small against the laughter of other children. "Patience," Sogolon whispered, her hand gentle on his head. "The baobab grows slowly, but its roots are eternal." Years passed, and Sundiata's weakness became a wound to the pride of Mandin. While boys his age hunted and rode, he dragged himself through the dust, his legs betraying him. Sasuma's taunts grew crueler, her laughter echoing through the palace. "Your lion will never roar," she spat at Sogolon, her eyes gleaming with malice. When King Nare Magan died, the throne passed to Dankaran Tuman, a weak king swayed by his mother's ambition. For Sundiata and Sogolon, life became a daily battle. The court shunned them, their food was meager, their quarters cold. Sasuma's servants mocked openly, their words like daggers. One day, a servant approached Sogolon in the marketplace, her voice loud for all to hear. "Why can't you gather baobab leaves for your son's meal, as every mother does?" The crowd stilled, waiting for Sogolon's shame. But the buffalo woman's eyes blazed, not with anger, but with resolve. She turned to her son, now 7 years old, and saw not a crippled child, but the lion of prophecy. "Sundiata," she said, her voice steady as the earth, "today you will walk." She led him to the courtyard, where a mighty baobab stood, its trunk wide as a village. From its base she lifted an iron staff, heavy enough to challenge warriors. "Take this, my son," she said. "You are the child of a lion and a buffalo. Your destiny waits." The crowd gathered, expecting another humiliation. Sundiata's hands closed around the iron staff, his thin arms trembling under its weight. His mother's eyes locked on his, fierce and unyielding. "Stand," she commanded, her voice a spark to his soul. Something stirred within him. A fire, a strength, a roar that had waited 7 years to be heard. Slowly, painfully, he pulled himself upright, his legs shaking like reeds in a storm. The crowd gasped, their whispers falling silent. Step by trembling step, Sundiata moved forward, the staff his anchor. Then, with a cry that shook the heavens, he stood tall, his eyes burning with the light of destiny. But he was not done. With newfound strength, he approached the great baobab. Gripping its trunk, he pulled with the might of a lion, and the tree, older than the kingdom itself, yielded to his will. He lifted it high, roots dripping earth, and turned to his mother. "Here are your baobab leaves," he said, his voice no longer a child's, but a king's. The crowd erupted, their cheers shaking the palace walls. The lion had awakened, and Mandin would never be the same. Sundiata's triumph sent ripples of fear through Sasuma and Dankaran. The prophecy they had mocked now loomed like a storm. They whispered in the shadows, plotting to crush the lion before he could claim his birthright. Assassins crept into Sundiata's quarters under moonlight, their blades gleaming with malice. But the lion's spirit was awake, his senses sharp. He fought them off, his hands swift and strong, leaving the attackers lifeless in the dust. Sogolon came to him that night, her face etched with worry. "My son, your destiny is too great for this place. You must leave, gather strength, and return as a king." Sundiata's heart rebelled. He was no coward to flee his home, but her words carried the weight of truth. "The baobab seed must find new soil to grow," she said. "Go, and become the king you were born to be." With his mother, Sister Kolonkan, brother Mandin Bori, and a handful of loyal followers, Sundiata slipped away before dawn. Thus began his exile, a journey that would test his courage, forge his spirit, and shape the fate of a continent. The road was long and harsh, the sun relentless, the nights cold. Sundiata's small band wandered through the western Sudan, seeking refuge in a world shadowed by Sumanguru's terror. Their first stop was Jene, where King Sumaba welcomed them as kin. But whispers followed. Sheltering the lion child could draw Sumanguru's wrath. When raiders struck Jene's borders, Sundiata saw his chance to prove his worth. Leading a small force, he faced a giant warrior whose spear had never missed. The battle raged from dawn to dusk, their clash a dance of steel and will. As the sun dipped low, Sundiata disarmed the giant, sparing his life in a gesture that won hearts. Yet politics forced Sumaba to send Sundiata away, fearing Sumanguru's vengeance. Deeper into exile, they entered the land of the spirits, a forest where shadows moved with purpose. A spirit lion, its roar shattering stone, blocked their path. "Who dares cross my domain?" it thundered. Sundiata stepped forward, unafraid. "I am Marijata, rightful heir of Mandin, destined to bring peace." The spirit posed a riddle. What is a king's greatest strength? Sundiata's heart spoke true. The love and loyalty of his people, earned through service. The spirit nodded, granting him the gift of tongues, to speak with man and beast alike. With this blessing, Sundiata pressed on. In Mema, King Musa Tunkara welcomed him as a son. For 4 years, Sundiata trained in warfare, diplomacy, and justice, growing into a leader of unmatched wisdom. He gathered allies, warriors like Tiramakan, griots like Balafaseke, building a force bound by loyalty, not fear. Yet his heart never strayed from Mandin, where his people suffered under Sumanguru's iron grip. In the 5th year of exile, grim tidings arrived. Sumanguru had conquered Mandin, driving Dankaran Tuman into flight. Worse, he had captured Balafaseke, Sundiata's griot, severing his link to his history. The news struck like a blade, but Sundiata stood silent under the stars, feeling destiny's weight. "The time has come, mother," he said to Sogolon, now frail but fierce. "I must free my people." King Musa gifted him a small army, and Sundiata set out for Mandan. His return was like rain on parched earth. Villages whispered of the lion's coming. At Sibi, he gathered the Mandinka clans beneath a baobab tree, his words weaving their hearts together. "We fight not for power, but for justice," he declared. One by one, the clans swore allegiance, naming him Mansa, emperor of their hopes.